Wait a minute, hang on. This actually looks like a piece of flesh. What the heck? Oh yes, watch as it fills itself. I don't know what would happen if I stood in one of those blocks. It'd either push me out or it would kill me. Hello everybody and welcome back to some more Project Skycapsule. As you can see right behind me, in between episodes, I've set up a little something. Now y'all remember the last video, I did the entire resourceful bees line so that way I could get myself the watch of flowing time. Well, at the end of it, there was this apiary, which I discovered actually makes straight bee combs. So I decided to take the time to make 2 more of those tier 4 ones, and then each of them have each of the ones dedicated to the tiers of resources. At the bottom you have the tier 1s, then 2, and then 3, and then all of those things then get pulled out into this ender chest, which I actually found out had to make. It's a little expensive actually, and it gets sent over to my drawer roll right over here where we have all of our other resource stuffs, which means that now with those in tow, we can actually go ahead and then make the large catalysts. I've already done it with tier 1 and 2 for 2 reasons. 1 was so that way I could get that ball rolling, and 2 was so that way I could do it in my EMC farm over there. Every single one of them is done. And if you look at my EMC generation above my head, I am currently at 7 million a second. It's awesome.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
And there we go. The moment of truth has finally come. All of my resource generators are finally completed, maxed out. So then, as for the main plan of today, besides tying up that loose end, we're gonna get into some powah to start off with. And the reason for that is because once we complete this line, the chapter reward for this is gonna be incredibly useful. The first thing we need to make is gonna be this energizing orb, which is EMCable, and it takes dielectric rods horizontal, a dielectric casing, and some glass. Now, the casing also takes these rods, which just takes the paste and some iron bars, both of which I should have EMC'd. So we just put all of those like that, and then we get ourselves our rods. There we go. And now, for the other direction of the rod, you can just invert the recipe like this, or you can just stick your rod inside of there, and there we go, it just works. So we can go ahead and combine all of these ones to go ahead and then make ourselves a pristine little casings. And now with all this together, we can now go ahead and make ourselves our energizing orb. Now, this thing is going to be incredibly useful in respect that this is how we craft things with the powah mod. How this thing will work is you'll stick things inside of it, and then provided with power, if it has a valid recipe, it'll convert it into something else. But the way that we actually power this is going to be different, because we can't just pump pipes into this. We actually need something called the energizing rods. Also, we can't actually place these things down normally. What we're going to need is going to be some special cables from the mod called the energy cables. Now, I don't know how high up it's EMCable, about to harden. Okay, that's fine. So what we're going to need is a basic capacitor, which is just even more stuff. Okay, cool, let's craft that. Alrighty, so by combining all these things together, we're going to get ourselves 12 of these basic pipes. Now, I don't know why this wasn't in the quest line, because for some reason it's not, but that's fine. So then, with these things in tow, if I were to go ahead and then place this down right here, I can now go ahead and then place down my energizing rod. It's very, very nice. And is the pipe pumping power into it? I think it might be, because, I mean, this thing wasn't full when I had it placed down, so neat. Well, I can't use this one, because there are different tiers to these things, and I need to be able to upgrade it to the next one, so that way we can get started with this quest line over here. So in order to make this next one, we need 2 more basic capacitors, a dielectric casing, and a quartz block. Alrighty, so I got that. There we go. Now we got ourselves the energizing rod basic. And then the last thing on this side of the board is to just make this thing right here, which is called an energy cell basic, which I have now filled up because of the thing. So then after that, in order for us to start up the next thing, which is called energized steel, we're going to need to go ahead and then pump in something very special. Some gold and some iron. Now, here's the thing. The recipe just calls for gold and iron, but if I put in more than one of each, it's not gonna work. it has to be exact amounts, which means I can only do it one at a time. That's unfortunate, but hey, you know, what can you do? So let's go ahead and throw that there, and then now it will start powering this thing very, very slowly, but very efficiently. Yes, yes, go, it's beautiful. It is actually pretty slow, but with that, we now get ourselves 2 energizing steel. Now, this one is the only one that is EMCable, unfortunately, but with that, we now get ourselves the energizing steel quest. And then after that, we'll have it's upgraded for the energizing rod. Each one of these is going to have it, and the recipe is going to be exactly the same with one minor difference. For each of the capacitors, they have their own specific ones. So we'll need to make a large capacitor, which is just 2 of the basic ones, and then surrounded by the item in question. For the next tier's case, it's going to be the hardened steel. After that, it will be the blazing crystals, the niotic crystal, and so on. So for the most part, the recipes are just going to be mostly the same. So all I'll really show you is just going to be getting these things, and then we'll just sort of pass right through getting these. That being said, let's get our hardened steel stuff out of the way. Alrighty, and there we go. That is the entirety of the energizing one. So then after that, we're going to need to make ourselves the blazing crystal. Now this one is going to be very interesting because it actually has 2 recipes for it. One is a blaze rod, which just causes 90,000 FE, and the other is 4 blaze powder, which causes 120,000 FE. Now obviously this math doesn't add up, and if we really think about it, the blaze rod is more cost effective, so we're going to need to go ahead and grab that. We're actually going to need to grab quite a few of those because as from here on out, the rest of these are not EMCable. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and plop that one into there, and I placed down an upgraded pipe as well, just because that thing will transfer it even faster. So now it's all just gonna go straight into here. I should probably actually grab a dedicated flux point for this, just so that way it's just gonna be directly into it, and that might make it go faster. Alrighty, blazing crystal is done, so let's go ahead and grab that, and then we can go ahead and then place this point right there and call it this. There we go, super special awesome power. So now hopefully this one will go faster. Let's actually see. It's a little faster, just a little bit, not too much, but I would prefer this to be a little quicker because as we go down the line, this is gonna get even more complicated. Okay, so before I can go ahead and start getting the rest of these things right here, I am gonna need to make a few of these. So I'm gonna do that, and then we're gonna go over to the next montage. There we go, now we got ourselves the blazing tier all well and done. After that, we're gonna have Niotic, which takes a diamond, and then after that, we'll have one which just takes an emerald, both of which are incredibly easy to obtain. Only problem is that this is gonna take so much power, but with the power of the blazing energizing rod, hopefully this will go by much, much faster. Could I time in a bottle this, and it goes faster? So, if I do this, but with an actual water flowing time, so that way the power going in is also faster, this might be more effective. Either way, though, we got ourselves our niotic crystal. I want to try this by grabbing a watch. Give me a second. Our EMC production is going to be down for a little bit, but you know what? That's fine. So now we go ahead and throw that into there. Power is increasing in there even faster. So now, if I throw in this emerald, oh yes, it's faster. Oh yes, and this thing is actually going down. Once it goes down, and then it's like at that point, it is a little faster. Okay, so this is just by a small margin the better option. Cool then. So then I'm guessing the problem could also be the transfer, because that one is a little lower, but with that, we now got ourselves our spirited crystal. There we go. So now after that, we just need to go for the next ones. Montage! And there we go. Now we got ourselves our spirited thing. There we go. Which means now with that done, we have the final thing right here. The nitro crystal. Once we complete this last branch of this tree, we will be completely done with the powah mod line. This is where things get expensive though, because in order to make this one, it gives us 16 of them. I think we need a little more than that, but we'll find out soon enough. But what's really going to be tricky is the fact that this thing costs 200,000 FE to construct, and it needs a nether star, 2 redstone blocks, and a block of blazing crystal, which is just 9 of those things. But now that we have this one to nitro, this should be, actually no, it's beyond nitro, it's spirited. It is now much faster because these things do more than just have a higher capacity. They do actually give you more for your money. So, yep, this thing is actually going really fast. That's actually really awesome. Okay, cool. So then we can go ahead and combine all of that to make ourselves our block right there. There we go. And now the nether star. Now to combine this all together into one fine package because this thing is just going to take not terribly long. Actually, wait a minute. This thing hasn't drained yet. Wait, let's actually see how long it's actually gonna take. How long in reality is this thing? It's not terrible. It's gonna take me a few minutes, but this thing will definitely be worth it. What's sad, though, is that I am actually going to have to make a second one of these. I did learn that because I'm going to need more than 16.
5 minutes later.
Alrighty, 2% left. Come on, you're almost there. 1%. And finally, we now have ourselves the nitro crystals, baby. It looks like a little flesh bit. Wait a minute, hang on. This actually looks like a piece of flesh. What the heck? Huh. That's fascinating. Okay, so now that that's done, we're just gonna need to go ahead and then make the last 2 of these things. But this is where this is gonna be a process for me. You all won't have to deal with this. But in order to make this thing, you need 2 of these, right? And for each of these, that was all the same. So I did the math, and in order for you to make this thing from scratch, I need 32 of the basic one. So then I'd need 16 of the hardened one, then 8 of the blazing, 4 of niotic, and then the 2 of the spirited. I've already done half of that, so I only need the other half. Okay, we're almost done with this part. Come on, another last speed edit. Alrighty, here we go, moment of truth. I decided to cut the speed edit right here because once we grab this thing, this entire quest line is now done in 2, 1, because there's no 3. Hear the glory. The glory! Oh my gosh! The reason why we did all of this wasn't for anything that we have crafted so far. It's for the chapter reward which we get for doing this. And that reward is going to be not there. There it is. The nitro reactor components. By grabbing all of this, we then get ourselves 36 blocks, and if I place just one of these down in that area, you see that little outline, it will then begin to take all these blocks and construct what's known as a nitro reactor. I won't be building this here though. I have a much better plan for this thing, and it is going to be beautiful. So let's just go ahead and throw that right there. We don't really need that anymore. So as for where I'm going to put this, it has ties for the reason why I wanted it, which is that I am going to put it in the next questline, which we're going to be doing, which is going to be compact machines. They aren't complex. All you need is this compact machine wall, which just take compressed iron and redstone, and then it's EMCable. We're just gonna shoot straight through that all the way to the final one, just so that way we can get that quest line done now, which, I mean, you know, it doesn't really give me much, but hey, achievements. And then we're also going to want to finish up the rest of the power pots line, because for the next one we're going to need 6 emeralds and 2 compressed blaze blocks, but then for the tier 4 it's gonna take 8 nether star blocks. Alright, I gathered up everything I need. It didn't actually take me that long. So first the tier 3, and then finally, with so many nether stars, tier 4. Ow. That one's still very loud, but there we go. Now we got the power pot one done. And by completing that one, we actually get 4 more of the tier 4 ones, giving us a total of 5 tier 4 ones. And with those tier 4 power pots, actually, they give us something very special. It gives us 256 times the output. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I'm pretty sure that's like 4 stacks, maybe? I don't know, but it's definitely gonna be quite a lot. It's gonna take a hefty bit of power, being 12,000 FE a tick. And that's actually the reason why we needed the reactor, was so that way we could power this. And we're needing the compact machine for a place to put this, so that way it won't be so many things in one area, so it won't be as laggy. Let's go ahead and get started on that little endeavor. So first and foremost, we can make ourselves the compact machine walls, so then we can go ahead and then learn those, and let's go ahead and just grab a couple stacks of those. That should be good, and then after that, we can go ahead and then get started with the tiny one. I needed to make sure that I have everything on me, so that should be everything. Yes, that is very much everything. Beautiful. So now we can go ahead and then make ourselves the tiny one, then the small one, then the normal, then the large. We don't actually need all of these, this is just for progression's sake. Then we can get, which one's that? Giant. And then finally, maximum. I believe that only actually used up 4 of these. And also, why has this not completed yet? Is it because I didn't lose it? I guess let's... Why? Okay, cool. I mean, I don't think that the personal shrinking device is particularly hard to get, but I guess then we can go ahead and just throw this thing right here. There we go. So now, if we were to shift right-click this, we would be allowed to venture inwards, but I'm not going to go in just yet. Actually, yeah, I am. Actually, wait, no. Oh, wait, do I just need to right-click it? I do just need to right-click it. Beautiful. So now if I claim this chunk and then chunk load it, whatever happens in here is going to be permanent. I may have just made a mistake. Okay, we good? Okay, good. We're good. Cool. So now that that's over with, let's go ahead and then place this thing down and construct our beautiful reactor. Oh yes, watch as it fills itself. I don't know what would happen if I stood in one of those blocks. It'd either push me out or it would kill me. It's one of the multiple options. But now with that, the reactor is now fully built. And all that we would need to do is make a small setup to be able to get it ready. I'll do that off screen. For right now though, let's go ahead and then gather up everything that I'm gonna need, and I'm gonna show you all what my plan is. My grand plan of greatness and possibly redundance. We'll see what happens.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Alrighty, the setup is all done. I just need to turn it on, but once I go back into first person mode, you're all gonna see it. Here we go. Look at it. It's beautiful. So, how to get the reactor to work, we'll start off with that. I set up this little area over here where I needed an aqueous accumulator to pretend infinite water over to here as a coolant, along with some blue ice, which I am getting from EMC Link. I'm also getting redstone and Adernal's fuel, which helps to increase the efficiency and the production of it. And then right there in the center, that is where the uranite is gonna go, which I am ender chesting straight from over out in the overworld, so it should all go into here. So the moment I turn this thing on, it should all begin to work. I will also need to send things over to here because this thing is going to be powering all of the power pots, which have diamond seeds in them. Those are all then connected to a drawer controller, which will then pour out the diamond essence into this sequence fabricator, which will then create the diamonds and send them straight into here. So, the question is, how much of this diamond essence is going to overflow into this thing? I'm willing to bet it's probably going to be a significant margin because this thing, it's a little slow. But that's what these tests are for. So 3, 2, 1, go! Turn the thing on, and now it begins. The power now generates. It actually stores some stuff in here which slowly uses it up, so it's not just an instant thing. And then all the power then begins to generate. And we also want this thing on auto mode so that way once it has less than 70% energy, only then will it work. But now, with all of that working, these things are not power. And I just remembered why. I forgot to put my upgrades into these. Joy. Joy to the world indeed. So let's go ahead and slap that into there. And now it should not work out much better. So if I could get this thing to pull out more of its power, then we could get this thing going. Okay then. So that means that what I'm gonna need is I'm gonna need a netherite one. But this one is very close to being done. A lot of these ones are. So I kind of want to be around for that, you know? I mean, this one's already fully powered, that's not a question. But these ones, We're so close. Come on, come on. Let's see it. Let's see it. And that should be a whole lot of power. There we go. And it's continuing to fluctuate in. So, holy crap, that is a lot of essence. So then now this thing is just going to start pulling out its stuff, and then we're going to have this thing going. Very nice. Oh, yep, and there we go. Like I said, overflowing. So let me tweak with this for a bit, and we'll see what happens.
Much later.
Alrighty, I tweaked it just a little bit, so I actually changed out the thing for a normal crafter from RF Tools Utility, because those things are faster, and they're a lot more resourceful with their things. And I also put in a ultimate pipe upgrade, and I had to put in a filter because for some reason this thing was actually taking the stuff out from here and then throwing it into here, so I just put in something that just would never ever be in there, so nothing else would get pulled out. But there we go. It's now producing slightly more EMC, but you know what? Even a little bit more EMC is still good EMC, especially since we are drawing closer and closer to the end of the Project E line. So it's definitely going to be very exciting. And once we do get there, you're all going to want to see what we have in store. So let's go ahead, collect our rewards. We got those things right there. And then we're also going to get some more compact machines. Very, very nice. And also a Mark 9 EMC link. Did you like this video? Good. Then be sure to check out my last Project Skycapsule video where I did the Resourceful Bees mod all the way through, so that way we may get the Watch of Flowing Time. You're all sure to enjoy it. Bye-bye!